Hello everyone, today we're going to try and do something a little silly, but let's see if we can game on the Chromebook. So if you haven't already, go check out my unboxing and review of this Chromebook, which was the cheapest Chromebook I could get hold of at free. It came free with a new phone, but one of the things that's quite important to note is that it has the same spec as the cheapest Chromebook you can buy. It's not by Samsung, it's by another brand, but it's still the same spec. It's still got the same terrible Celeron processor, terrible 64 gig eMMC memory, and a whole 4 gig of RAM. Let's see what we can do gaming wise. It's definitely not designed as a device for gaming at all, in the slightest. Never. This is going to be painful. But what it is designed for is a starter computer, probably the kind of computer that you might give to a child that needs to start doing homework on the computer and that sort of thing. And what do kids like to do? Well, they do like to do a bit of gaming as well. So maybe it can play some games. We'll take a look at different ways that you can play games on here, and we'll see if any of them work. All right, let's get into it. Fortunately, one thing I am going to have to do for this video is we're going to have to record the screen via a camera and not actually just capture the screen. I'm very worried that capturing the screen is going to affect the performance, considering just how terrible the storage is and the fact that we are only dealing with a 2-core, 2-thread processor. I actually think that screen recording will pretty significantly impact the performance of the device. So we're going to record from my camera here, and hopefully it's not too bad and it's watchable. We'll see. It is a terrible kind of screen quality. I can already see that you're getting those fun LCD lines across the screen. But anyway, let's get into it and see what we can do. Okay, so we are dealing with a Chromebook. We've got obviously Chrome OS, which is based all around Chrome. So hopefully some web games might work. I actually struggled to find any decent web-based games. It's been a long time since I played web games, and when I used to play web games, they were all Flash, and that's obviously well and truly dead now. So maybe comment down below if you have any web games that you like to play. But suffice to say, didn't find many options that kind of took my fancy. We do have this free sieve though, so we'll see how well this works, if this works at all. And we'll go from there. So here we go, we do have full screen working. Navigating around is quite laggy, and we are dealing with very simple sprite-based stuff here. It's a thing. It's definitely kind of functional. I think some basic 2D web games would be fine. Like I say, unfortunately, don't really know the best one to be playing around, so definitely have to comment down below. But let's get into something else. Let's get into something slightly more interesting. One thing we do have access to as a Chromebook is Android apps, and also more specifically Android games. So I've installed a couple on here, and I want to see what can we do with this. There's some pretty cool Android games out there, and some pretty high graphic intensity games as well. They run on phones, they run on tablets, so maybe they'll run here. We'll start with something a little simpler, though. Let's have a look at games like Monopoly and Mighty Doom, which are very much 2D, kind of just rendering images on the screen. Idle games, I guess, is what you describe them as. Let's see how these play. So it seemed to have loaded, but then it's stuck on this Play with Friends button. If I click the button, nothing seems to happen. I did actually have this running previously, but it seems to not be doing anything now. That's kind of annoying. One thing I was going to sort of talk about here was the fact that it is locked to just the phone landscape screen, so you can't make use of your full screen. It's just this little window. But actually at the moment, it doesn't even seem to be working. So off to a really great start. Let's try something else. Okay, so here we have Mighty Doom. Let's see how this loads. It took a while, but it has at least loaded. Let's see if we can actually get through all the reward things and all that rubbish. Okay, let's see if we can actually play a game and see where we get to. Again, one of the plus sides to this is that it is sharing my Google account information, so the games that support... Oh, no, we crashed. Game 2 has crashed. What I was saying is, for games that do support it, we can kind of sync our save data from Android to the Chromebook. Unfortunately, again, it doesn't seem to be doing much, and that has crashed. Okay, well, maybe it's just that specific game. Maybe we can do something a little bit more, and it will work. So let's have a look at old school RuneScape. This was a classic that I remember fondly playing when it wasn't old school RuneScape. It was in fact RuneScape. Let's see how this works. We do get full screen here, which is very nice. Definitely better that it supports that kind of thing. Loads in, okay, let's see. And we are in. That was pretty much instant. That was actually pretty decent. You know what? This is, I mean, the trackpad is terrible. We definitely want a mouse. And I don't think, like, you can't walk around with arrow keys or anything. You do have to click to go. I can see I've typed something. But you know what? It's actually functional. It's fairly, you know, I can walk about without any real lag. Characters are moving about the screen fine. It's not complaining of any real issues. I think I can kind of use the mini-map to go further if I remember, yeah. Yeah, I don't have a frames per second counter for this one, but you know, this is playable. You could actually play some old school RuneScape if that's your kind of thing and you want to relive the old days of RuneScape. I'm kind of happy with that. Next up, let's do something a little more challenging. Let's see if we've got any luck with some of the 3D games that you can get on Android. So let's see if we can play some Call of Duty, for example. Okay, so that wouldn't actually even load at all. So Call of Duty isn't happening. Let's try the next game. You can see a theme coming here, can't you? But let's try some PUBG. You never know. Maybe we'll get better results. At least the window's opened and it's full screen. That's a good start. And after a century of loading time, it crashes. So it's suffice to say that trying to play Android apps for gaming is going to be a bit hit and miss. Your simpler idle games could possibly work. Maybe some basic 3D games will also work. But anything that's really pushing Android to its limit, it's just not going to load. I think we're probably getting bottlenecked by the RAM here. If you consider the fact that there's only 4 gig of RAM to start with, well, that's then got to run Chrome OS and then the Android layer on top of that, and then the Android app. And most Android phones now have more than 4 gig of RAM anyway. It's just not a very good experience. So unfortunately, we have to rule out Android gaming for real, actual gaming on this thing. But all hope is not lost. What about using Linux? So one of the things that's pretty cool about these Chromebooks is that you can actually run Linux applications on them. You can install a sort of Linux subsystem and you can run normal Linux applications within that subsystem. So what about Minecraft? Everyone loves a bit of Minecraft. Minecraft is incredibly popular. Uses Java Java runs very well on Linux. Minecraft runs very well on Linux. Let's see how well it can run on this. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've set up the Linux subsystem and I've installed a thing called Prism Launcher, which is a third-party Minecraft launcher that just allows you to manage multiple versions of Minecraft. You'll see why we need that in a second. What I've done for this test is we have two versions of Minecraft. We have the vanilla normal standard Minecraft. I've then also set up a modded version of Minecraft that uses sodium and lithium, which are performance focused mods to hopefully improve performance. So I'm hoping between these two we can maybe get something that's actually playable. It is at least loading, so that's a big start compared to the Android apps that we've been trying up till now. Also, of course, the advantage of this is that you're going to have full keyboard and mouse support. Some Android apps are very much just touch focused, so that can get a bit confusing too. But here we go. We'll create a new world and we will see how vanilla Minecraft performs on the Chromebook. Okay, so after another million hours of waiting for this thing to load, we are into our world, and it is choppy. It is not buttery smooth, let's put it that way. I mean, we're getting more frames than I'd kind of expected, but yeah, that didn't actually break. That's interesting. Let's take a look and see what we are doing. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, as I kind of expected, it is chugging. We're getting about 7, 14, 16 frames per second. It's all over the place, depending probably on what's on the screen, what it's trying to do. This is definitely not playable. I guess if you were really in a pinch and you really needed to get your Minecraft fix, it's not the worst. You're getting some frames. I just saw it get up to 20, in fact. Yeah, but it's still kind of very jaggedy. What was that cow doing? It's kind of skipping along a bit. Okay, let's try the modded Minecraft instead and see if those performance mods can make any real difference for us here. Okay, let's get modded Minecraft loaded up instead. Maybe at the very least things will load a bit quicker, but that eMMC memory really is slow. It's giving kind of mechanical hard drive speeds. It's a painful reminder of the past, I think. Okay, we are once again loaded in. Now this definitely has things like much lower render distance set up, and hopefully will give us more of a playable experience, but let's have a look. It's a little more stable. What I would say, we're still getting like, oh, that dip there. Around 18, 20 frames per second. We're getting a few more frames. And I would say it feels a bit smoother. We can turn off this now. Like, I would say this is borderline playable. You're not going to have an amazing time, like the amount of time it took there for it to realize that it had broken. Okay, there we go. You're not going to have the most amazing time, but it's actually, yeah, you know, you're at times, oh, I'm about to die, getting closer to 30 frames per second. It's not dipping as low either, so I would say, especially when it's not loading in new areas, this is more usable. It's still not great, but I could see, especially, you know, a child playing in creative mode or just wanting to be able to get on and talk to their friends and stuff. This works. This is a much more usable experience with the mods installed to improve performance, and a lot of the settings turned down as well. Yeah, Okay, I would deem this our first success. If you really, really need to play Minecraft on a Chromebook with a few performance mods and turning settings down, it's doable. Yeah, it's definitely functional. As I mentioned before, we can run Linux applications on this now. We've got Linux running, we've got Minecraft running, so what about Steam? Now, there is an official Steam beta for Chrome OS. However, it has a minimum spec requirement that this just doesn't meet. So we won't be able to use that. Instead, what we can do is set up Steam in its normal Linux environment. So we can actually still get things up and running. And I've managed to install a couple of games to try out. Now, I'm not trying to be too crazy here. We ain't going to be getting Doom running or any intense games, but maybe we can get some of these old titles working. Let's start with Half-Life 2 and see how that goes. Okay, so that loaded in surprisingly well. We have a FPS counter at the top here as well. We're keeping above 30. Let's see if we can start a new game. Let's see if this works. So we are loaded in. We're definitely experiencing some lag. It's, considering this is the opening sequence of the game, pretty light as far as it goes. I'm not too confident. We are struggling to keep above 30 frames per second. Can we do anything to improve that? Let's take a look at what video settings have been applied here. And okay, so we are using high detail here. Let's get it down low. Let's see if we have any chance of keeping things kind of. Oh, we can definitely turn down this as well. Let's just see if we have any chance of getting this thing to work. Okay, we're a little more. Oh no, big lag spike there.
Get in line. Welcome. Welcome to 17. You have chosen or been chosen to relocate to one of our finest remaining urban centers.
Well, I mean, oh, I don't know. Yeah, those are some big performance drops. I'm not sure this is all that playable. Let's be honest. You're going to have a rough time as soon as we get into any sort of action scenes or anything where there's lots of stuff going on. Yeah, it's struggling. It's chugging, that's for sure. It's definitely chugging. Well, that wasn't the greatest experience, so let's see if we have any luck with Half-Life 1. Now, this is a game that was released in the late 90s, so I would really hope that we can get a playable experience here, but that definitely limits the kind of games that you're going to be able to play on this. Still, let's give it a go, and let's see how well this goes.
Good morning, and welcome to the Black Mesa Transit System. This automated train is provided for the security and convenience of the Black Mesa Research Facility personnel. The time is 8:47 a.m. Current topside temperature is 93 degrees, with an estimated high of 105. The Black Mesa compound is maintained at a pleasant 68 degrees at all times.
Okay, so far we're getting smoother experience. We're still not even reaching 60 frames per second, which is kind of concerning with a game this old, but it's definitely less hitchy. It's definitely a smoother 40, 50 frames per second. Yeah, I would say this is a much more playable experience. But again, this is a game from the late 90s. I would expect a potato to be able to play this. So it's a little sad that even this is struggling. It is not completely smooth. we are getting some serious frame drops when things are actually going on. So yeah, that's a shame. It's this is not the device if you want to be able to game. Let's put it that way. But we do have one last hope, one last way that we might be able to get some gaming out of this thing. We're going to give Steam Link a go and see if we can stream games from a desktop PC to this and at least play them like that. In the spirit of the cloud and the web, maybe that's where this is going to work, and maybe this is how we can get some gaming on this device. Spirit of using Android apps. You can download Steam Link from the Play Store on the Chromebook and set up Steam on your desktop computer, which I've already done. This is my desktop, which has a RTX 460 in it, 32 gig of RAM, a Ryzen 7 CPU. I forget which model, which year, but anyway, point is plenty of oomph to run any games pretty flawlessly, to be honest. So question is, can we stream from there to this Chromebook? We are on the same Wi-Fi network, so this is local, and obviously there are cloud services out there. So my theory is, if this works, those cloud services might work. If this doesn't work, they are definitely not going to work. So let's give it a go. We're going to connect to our Steam instance, and we are going to fire up some Doom and see how it goes. Well, the UI itself is quite laggy, so that's not a great start. Okay, well, let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's probably not a good sign when the launch video lags. Let's see how this goes. I'm not kind of optimistic on this one. Oh yeah, there is some serious lag when I'm moving the mouse. As you can see, it kind of just jumps. Ooh, this is not doing good. Oh, we've just got a black screen. Oh, it's giving us a connection error issue. I can safely say there is no actual connection issue. I have a strong Wi-Fi router. My desktop is plugged into that via Ethernet. It's the best situation possible, really, for streaming from this, and doesn't look like it wants to do it. Oh, okay, we're back. Let's see if we can do anything. The mouse is now not moving at all, and we're back again. Yeah, I think we've exhausted the options there. I don't think we're going to be able to successfully do anything gaming-wise via Steam Link. So it's pretty safe to say that you're not going to get a great experience. Well, there you have it. There is the pretty pitiful gaming performance of this Chromebook. But hey, at least we tried. And maybe some things will work. Maybe with a bit more tweaking, you could get things to be a bit smoother. Still, if you're looking for a device to play games on, this is not it. I definitely recommend getting a used second-hand laptop that has more than 2 cores. You know, you have to go quite far back before you were going back into the single or dual core world. So get a quad core, maybe more than 4 gig of RAM, and certainly faster storage. And you'll have a much better experience for less money, most likely. But there we have it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, please do make sure to like and subscribe. We are slowly progressing towards that 1,000 subscriber goal that I have, and I'm really enjoying it. I think my last video, the Steam Deck review, went down very well. So hopefully we can continue that momentum and you enjoy these videos. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.